Good morning, Apex Legends players. It's the Stinky Caustic Main back again with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the skill-based matchmaking controversy. Okay, I'm kind of lying here because there is no skill-based matchmaking controversy going on right now, unless you're a Call of Duty player, in which case the new game has a big skill-based matchmaking controversy, but I'm not a Call of Duty player, so I don't really care. But that doesn't mean Apex Legends doesn't have the same sleuth of issues when it comes to its matchmaking system. And I know I've already spent the last 4 videos slandering EA, but you're going to have to put up with me for this one, because today's video goes a little bit deeper than an overpriced cosmetic and a mediocre game mode. And for the sake of context, we're gonna have to go back to 2018, more specifically around the time when Anthem was about to release. EA saw the mass amounts of hype for Anthem, and they wanted to make sure that when players played Anthem, they wouldn't leave the moment they got bored. Any other company would achieve this by just constantly updating the game and listening to the community. But this is 2018 EA we're talking about, and back then EA really thought they mastered the psychology of gamers, because back then they decided to patent a system known as EOMM. EOMM stands for Engaged Optimized Matchmaking, and if you think it's just an enhanced skill-based matchmaking system, you are completely wrong. EOMM, unlike SBMM, was designed from the ground up by EA to maximize profits out of every player. The system is complicated and has many variables, but it can be boiled down to a simple concept. New players who have just started and only paid entry price are matched with players who have already spent money on microtransactions and in-game items. If enough new players keep getting pwned in these lobbies, they eventually start to associate buying items with getting good in the game. And because of this system, that's exactly what they end up doing. And I can already hear some of you guys saying, "Hey man, but Apex doesn't have any pay-to-win items." And you're completely right. However, subconsciously, most people will fall for the trick, because naturally our brains will start to associate getting good with buying items, and your subconscious is very good at making excuses to buy those items, so you won't even know what hit you when it does. This system is very psychologically complicated. That's why they made an entire patent for it. It's not like this is something they thought of in one day. A developer of the game on Twitter said that no one in the studio read the patent when they designed the game. So that's it, end all be all. There is no rigging in Apex Legends going on, but that doesn't mean there isn't any suspicious activity left to look into. And I know I've already beaten my argument here, but let me get into a little theorizing territory. And though I can't remember what I did to make this happen, I remember distinctly that there was a time when I tried to open a supply bin. However, instead I received an error message that the loot in the bin had not yet loaded. And though this vague story doesn't really prove anything, it does bring up a good point of discussion. If loot in Apex doesn't load until a player gets close enough, doesn't that mean that loot can be tweaked for each player depending on how well they're doing? What's stopping the game from giving worse players better loot in supply bins and care packages? EOMM was patented back in 2018. What's to say EA didn't develop a new system they've kept completely secret? Maybe EOMM was only designed for a specific type of game, mainly team versus team. Apex Legends is a battle royale, which is completely different from that gameplay style. Maybe the designers over at EA have already developed a new system designed specifically for battle royale games. Maybe they aren't lying when they said they didn't read the EOMM patent. Maybe it's because they read a completely different patent for a completely new system. Luckily, we haven't seen any real evidence of this actually being the case. However, it's still a possibility we can't rule out just yet. Maybe all the complaining you see all over Twitter is actually just the result of people being bad at the game. I mean, this isn't that much of a stretch either. In every game of Apex Legends, 95% of the players who go in end up losing. It's just the nature of the genre. The chance of you losing 20 games in a row is a lot higher in battle royale games compared to almost every other game genre available. And when almost every single clip you see shared online is of people winning, you assume it's easy, and then when you find out it's not, you can't help but complain. Especially since 90% of the clips you see online are from people who are being paid to play this game every single day of their life. If I walk into a shoemaking store and see a shoemaker make a shoe really easily, I'm going to assume it's easy, try it, realize it's not easy, and then what? I'm going to complain to the shoe? No, I'm going to keep building shoes until I get on his level, and then I'm going to have an opinion with him. And only once I've gotten on his level, I will tell him how bad making shoes really is, and then I'm going to make a pair of Watson shoes, put them on, and leave forever. In all honesty, I do not think Apex is rigged. I never thought it really was rigged. I feel like anytime I lose, and I feel like it's rigged because I just get shredded, it was probably my fault. Also, I'm 90% sure that if a dev says something like the game isn't rigged and they're wrong, they can get in some legal trouble with some gambling or false advertising laws, but I'm not entirely sure considering I'm not a lawyer. And you can tell I'm not a lawyer because I don't dodge questions. So the question is, do I think Apex is rigged? Answer: no, it is not rigged. Answer number 2, if you think it is rigged, then please get better at the game. Answer number 3, answer number 2 was only meant for the people who complain often. So we established that there isn't any rigged matchmaking going on. But what about the matchmaking that is going on? Is it really that good? Or is it so bad that you might as well call it rigged because that's how it feels? If the matchmaking system was a real person, I would tell it 3 things. First of all, I would ask why it pairs me with Apex Predators. Second of all, I would tell it that I'm flattered it pairs me with Apex Predators. Third of all, I would ask it not to pair me with Apex Predators. And I do joke around about it, but I want to talk about the real reason I think this is actually happening. Apex Legends, like most games, is going to be on a constant decline for most of its life, and though I wouldn't say it's dying, I will say this: the Apex Legends community is a very small one. And this is no secret either. All you have to do to find this out is queue up for duos or a re-released LTM. Immediately you'll start to notice that the amount of people queuing up isn't as high as you would hope. It's something reminiscent of an old Call of Duty game on PC, where unless the game had modding capabilities, there would only be one alive game mode at a time. And because the community is so small for a game that requires 60 players per match, you're going to be forced with that sweaty Apex Predator player, simply because everyone else is either in a different game mode or already in a match. And socially, compared to Fortnite and Warzone, Apex Legends is definitely losing the battle. It is much harder to find a fellow Apex player than someone who plays Warzone or Fortnite. And the sad part is that Apex can't really do much about this no matter how good the game gets. Fortnite is a global phenomenon that's really popular with children, and that demographic alone will keep it where it is. And what about Warzone? Well, it has the biggest name in shooting behind it, and it's free. If someone just bought an Xbox and sees a free Call of Duty game on the store, they're definitely gonna pick it up over an original IP. But that's also why I love Apex Legends so much. It walks the tightrope between being overrated and obscure. Almost everyone you meet will know the name, but not everyone will put the time in to play it. So if the game is something you love a lot, then it's your job to share that love with other people. And though you might not be able to revive the entire game, every new player introduced counts. I know I'm going really off track here, but that needs to be said. Anyway, I'm gonna end the video here. This was the Stinky Caustic Main logging off once again.